Happy Monday to everyone joining us here today on the live stream. Whether you're watching on Facebook or LinkedIn, welcome to the Lennor Pulse, a series on all things HR, career, and success. I would like to introduce our amazing people and culture, Alwin Peralta.
Thank
Woo!
you,
Dapat may clap.
Paula. Thank you, Paula, for the
Yes.
introduction. And I'm very, very thrilled to have each and every one of you joining us here today. I'm so glad I could be here for this episode. As Paula mentioned, I am the People and Culture Officer of Lennor Pulse, and I'm responsible for our internal talent strategy and really passionate about contributing to our reputation, growth, what else, culture, and of course, success. And to be candid, guys, I'm a person who loves to travel kapag may pera.
Correct,
Kapag may
same
pera.
ako din. Kapag bagong sweldo, alam mo na, check ng flights,
Yes,
add to cart sa
bubuk na flight.
Shopee.
Gusto muna kita kamustahin.
Oh,
Siyempre, how's life as a host for the Lenore Pulse?
grabe naman, Tito Boy, di naman ako ready. Ayun, being a host with Lennor Pulse, it's been good. I'm very grateful for the opportunity talaga. I was able to like gather a lot of knowledge during the previous episodes, and I know talaga na this episode and the succeeding episodes would be a fruitful one for me. Yes, English. And so, yun yung sagot ko, Alwin. Enough about me. Hindi naman ako yung naging topic na ako biglaan. In fairness, yun gusto ko sa'yo, very caring ka about sa people, di ba? Ganyan talaga siya on-screen tsaka off-screen. No bias. Naks.
Grabe. Ako lang to, Paula. Ako lang.
Na, ayan, super caring talaga ni Alwin. Ikaw ang bida ngayon, Alwin, hindi mo ba alam? Ikaw yung speaker, yung guest. Charot lang. So, moreover, I mentioned that kasi we will be diving deep into something that's related closely and
Mhm.
often mistaken for personalities. Today's episode is all about soft skills and how we can sharpen them to help us achieve a better version of ourselves.
That's right, Paula. And someone in the HR space, I am excited to be part of this conversation and of course, to let us know more about soft skills and, championing the better you. We invited a couple of guests for this. So let's start. Our first guest is an ambassador of positive psychology in the workplace. She is currently the people and culture manager for Teos. And prior to this, she was also a country manager for Asia Exchange, a community manager for IWG PLC Philippines, and a human resource business partner for the LCC group of companies. Everyone, please give a warm welcome to Rafaela Matias.
Woo! Welcome,
Hi!
Welcome, Rafa.
Thank you so much
Welcome,
for
Rafa.
the very warm introduction. Grabe naman tayo dyan, Alwin. So, appreciate the very brief introduction about me. So, appreciate that. Hello,
well,
everyone. Thank you for joining in the live stream for Lennor Pulse.
welcome, Rafa. But how are you so far, Rafa?
I am doing great. I actually look forward for the day, for these days na I will be able to engage with you guys and to be able to meet Paula and who's been also a LinkedIn connect for a couple of a while now. So really, it's been a pleasure. It's really great to be here with you, everyone.
Thank you for that, Rafa. But before we start, can you please give our audience a brief background of yourself?
So yeah, I consider myself as an ambassador of positive psychology in the workplace. It was very recently that this has been introduced. About 6 years ago, I've heard about this, and since then, I couldn't help but basically be able to divulge in workplace culture and to make sense of, I'd say, noise and revolution around it, right?
Mm,
Because coming in from walking my way through the ladder of the employment industry in the corporate world, we know how difficult it is engaging in certain types of corporate values that don't align with us or resonate with us. So from then on, I really immerse myself to basically champion both people and culture as it now evolves to also people operations. There's many of things that HR is now being called, right?
correct.
But I think people and culture are two things that basically um combine success in an organization
Mm,
where we need to have more focus on. So I really started on my earlier in my career with the recruitment and HR, and from then I was able to be promoted to an HR business partner for a retail company in the Bicol region, and then from there I was able to be scouted for a co-working space in IWG Spaces. So I was the community manager, one of the first community managers of spaces in the Philippines, and who have also launched the brand itself. And from the operations to also community management and events, I think that's one of my distinction as an HR professional. And then from there, move across Asia Exchange, which is also a study abroad organization in Asia, and move my way to cybersecurity, who is that is a very technical industry
Mm-hmm.
as we are now in the digital age. And so yeah, I've been with the organization for over 2 years now, and I'm very glad to share bits and pieces of things that I can share, and sort of my experiences in the field of of people space and in HR, and basically how we can champion our soft skills, right?
Mm-hmm.
Correct. We are excited to know more about your perspective in terms of people spaces. Together with your years of experience, I know that we can give more advices to our audience regarding this topic. So thanks
Correct.
again, Rafa, and welcome. But that doesn't stop there. Meron pa tayong bagong amazing speaker. Joining us today also is a good friend of mine. Yes. And someone who is familiar face for the Lennor Pulse series. And he joined us last time at Rainbow Rising, Small Wins, Big Wins, Love Wins episode. Back to share more perspective of today's topic, let's welcome back Sian Yves Lovendino. Welcome back,
Annyeonghaseyo.
Si!
Welcome back, C.
Hi, thanks everyone. Thanks once again, Paula and Alwin, for inviting me for this series. And yeah, my name is Sian. I actually started my career as a professor and as a trainer before. And my experience when it comes to soft skills development is really vast, and that's something I'm really excited to share with you guys from a perspective of someone who started from the ground up. So I this is something that is close to my heart. And at the same time, just like what Rafa mentioned, since we're almost companies right now promoting safe space, and I think it's really important that we understand and have a better understanding of what soft skills are required in order for us to promote positive workspace for all employees.
So much for quite a very fruitful introduction, Sian and Rafa. No? Alwin?
Yeah, and welcome again, Rafa and Sian. We cannot wait to hear your insights about the topic in our virtual stage. Okay, to kickstart our conversation about soft skills, we all know that soft skills are non-technical skills that are highly valued in organizations. So they complement technical skills and contribute to an individual's overall effectiveness in the workplace. So, in a nutshell, technical skills and soft skills work hand in hand, and then some of examples are soft skills are communication, what else? Collaboration, leadership, of course, cultural competence, and then problem solving and the like. But how about you, Rappa? What is your take regarding soft skills? What are soft skills for you, and what is the general description of soft skills?
Well, for me, soft skills refer to personal attributes, basically attitudes and qualities that enable collaboration and interaction with others. So um, that's how I would basically define soft skills.
Mhm, mhm. Thank you for that, Rafa. But how about you, Sian? Can you give a brief understanding of soft skills? And what do you think yung favorite mong soft skills you would like to develop and enhance more?
Right. I'll be defining soft skills based on how the World Advanced Research and Reviews define what soft skills is. Soft skills, according to them, is a cluster of qualities, attributes, and personalities, just like what Rafa mentioned, that identifies whether the person is qualified for a role or position in the organization. Now, to answer your second question, what is my favorite soft skills? Obviously, it's communication, because I love to talk. love to connect with people, and I think that's also an answer to the question that you raised earlier, Alwin. What soft skills is a priority, what should be a priority for, but for me, if you're going to look at the definition of soft skills, just like what I mentioned earlier, it's a cluster of personalities and traits. It's important to understand and zoom in on that definition. Why? Because if you'll check online, there are different definition of what soft skills are, and
Mhm.
you'll be bombarded with 47, 62. So I decided to just identify them in three categories. One is the me skills, two is the other skills, and three is the us skills. For the me skills, it's more on you. What are things that you can develop within yourself, like communication skills, work ethic, adaptability. For the you skills and how you interact with other people, like teamwork, emotional intelligence. While the us skills is more how you manage the organization, which includes leadership skills and problem solving skills. Now I'll go back to the question: why me skills is important, because that's foundation. In order for you to connect with other people, you need to have good communication
Mhm.
skills. You need to have good work ethic. So people around you would love and appreciate your presence in the organization.
Yan. So ayun, as Sian and Rafa said earlier, and just to highlight more on Sian, there's a lot of soft skills and it is divided, as Sian said nga earlier, divided into three: me skills, you skills, and us skills,
Ask
correct,
skills.
Sian? Ayun. So also, there's a list talaga ng mga soft skills natin. And as Alwin said
Exactly.
earlier, 'di ba, in a workplace, 'di ba, soft skills and technical skills work hand in hand. So
Mhm.
let's dig deep in terms of soft skills in a workplace. Another question is, across industries and regardless of job positions and titles, what would you consider yung parang soft skills talaga na every person in the workforce should have or must have? Parang ito talaga yung soft skills na as a people and culture, tapos kapag may nag-apply sa akin, this is a soft skill that I'm looking for. Sian, you can go ahead first.
Okay, yeah. For me, I think it's important. The very basic one, it's communication skills. Because when we talk about communication skills, we're not only talking about the verbal aspect of communication. We're also talking about the non-verbal aspect of communication. It includes negotiation. It includes persuasion, questioning skills, and I think most companies right now would appreciate someone who is open to discussion, open to talk about whatever challenges that he or she will encounter. And that's actually one of the major challenges that most employees are facing, simply because not everyone is equipped with those additional skills when it comes to communication. Well, on top of that, I think it's also important to have the work ethic, because when we're talking about work ethic, we're referring to self-discipline, to timeliness, right? And coming to work on time, being reliable. So those are the skills that I think is very important on top of the technical skills.
Correct. So, yun talaga yung mga tinitignan natin in terms of talking to people who we want to
Mhm.
onboard in our organization. Thanks for that, Sian. How about you, Rafa, in a people and culture perspective? What are the soft skills na parang medyo non-nego sa'yo?
Negotiable. Yeah.
Yeah, since I've been basically engaged with a lot of talents in the different industries, and most importantly now that I am basically looking out for technical roles, diba? There are non-negotiables for um soft skills. I agree with Sian. Definitely, communication is one. It should be very vital. And the other thing that I believe that goes hand in hand with communication is collaboration and adaptability. And why collaboration? Basically, the ability to work well with others and to contribute effectively in a team effort is crucial. And basically, it involves sharing responsibilities and involves supporting colleagues, resolving conflicts. How well you communicate, basically in a team, in a collaborating team, foster a positive and inclusive work environment, right? So, again, collaboration goes hand in hand with communication. Then, of course, sometimes that we overlook this, it's very difficult to identify adaptability in the job interview. It's very
Mhm.
innate and character identified, and you can only do it identify this scenario based and through experience
Mhm.
firsthand. So I think in a given fast paced and ever changing nature of work, this skill basically involves being open to change, embracing new ideas, adjusting to different situations, and demonstrating resilience in face of challenges, which is very difficult to identify on or to match if it matches the workspace culture and what you are looking for the right fit for the role. So no matter how behavioral questions we identify, I think it's difficult to kind of 100% assess this person has their adaptability quotient, then their collaborating effort towards
Mhm.
communication, right? It's easy to assess these things online in paper, that in what Cian have mentioned, what are verbal and written. But then again, when in a space of actively collaborating in a team,
Yeah.
sometimes there's a gap between communication and then adaptability, right?
Mhm.
Because of also other traits that a person possesses. So yeah.
Correct, correct. I agree with Rappa kasi I want to add, I think the nego for me is adaptability in today's rapidly, changing world, napaka-crucial nung adaptability. We need to embrace yung mga new technologies, learn new skills, and of course, quickly adjust to evolving circumstances, essential for, staying relevant and thriving in the workplace.
Yeah. Just to add lang din, no,
Okay,
with
but
what Rapha and Alwin said in terms of yung nga sa pag kunwari nag-hire tayo, 'di ba? Kaya siguro tayo merong probationary period sa isang sa isang
yes,
empleyado ba pagkapasok nila sa ano, 'di ba? Because for me, since I've had an experience being a recruiter, sometimes yung mga nafi-filter lang as a recruiter is yung mga technical skills. We have exams, we have case studies and such. Pero pagdating sa soft skills, it's really hard because when you're in an interview, it's always your best foot forward, di ba? So, dun
indeed,
talaga siya
indeed.
lalabas within the probationary period. So that's a great insight in terms of adaptability and collaboration, which is
Mhm.
a really, really a great part and would make the workplace better.
Yeah, yeah. That's correct, Paula. But on another note, what are some common mistakes or mindsets that, individuals should avoid when it comes to developing and applying soft skills effectively in the workplace? Sige,
Um,
ikaw muna. You go, Rafa. Sige.
well, I think um self-assessments are some of my I think very common mistakes, right? Because we allow um the talent to basically identify themselves in a way, and then sometimes from then we build sort of um scenario questions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's difficult though to have this self-reflection across these exercises and questionnaires, and sometimes it only pops up when the person is already hired, and
Mm-hmm.
you can't undo it, and another you can't do something about it for regularized individuals,
Mm-hmm.
but you can't always filter it for the probationary ones.
Yes.
So
Dapat sa 6 months na yun, no?
oo.
Uh,
And I think this is also not, I would say, a responsibility or for HR or the recruiters or those who hire them. It's this is a key responsibility of their line managers. So basically, what does their line managers do about these things for certain mistakes? Is the performance improvement plan able to support this or to justify their learning curve? Or can that be changed? Can this be improved? But there are also certain situations where the PIP and the managers can only do so much, because there's also the commitment and the willingness of the other person to improve the certain skills that are that they may be lacking or they needs improvement. So I believe there are further thoughts on this as Alwin or Sigan.
Right, right. I just wanted to piggyback to what you mentioned, Rafa, regarding self-assessment. That this really is challenging because when you're interviewing an individual, they're either selling themselves too much or selling themselves
Yes.
short. Simply because they don't have an idea. Oh, this is soft skills pala. Creativity is a soft skills pala. Attempting this is a soft skills pala. They didn't know that. When you ask them the question, what is your advantage compared to other individuals? Oh, I am a graduate of this. I'm a graduate of that. There's no thorough understanding what soft skills are, and I think having a platform like this will help others who are watching us right now. Others understand that there's actually a set of skills that I need to master, that I need to demonstrate in order for me to properly assess my qualification for the job. Because, yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, Paul, because I'm not doing recruitment. When you do recruitment, you check for the culture fit of the individual based on the pre-existing cultures or behaviors that the company has. And most people who apply for a job, they don't check those. They only look for the qualification, where a graduate of this, a graduate of
Agree.
has this or has that. But when they look at the attentiveness to details, they just don't focus on it. So I think it's really important that we have a platform for people to understand what soft skills are, for them to assess themselves appropriately and correctly. But that doesn't end there. The responsibility also relies within the person himself. That person has to check for perhaps online resources regarding soft skills. How do you develop that, and understand what your strengths and your opportunities are, and that's the time that you can probably assess yourself correctly.
Correct, ayan. Very, very fruitful din yung sinabi ni Sian as well as Rafa, no? And we all know, and just to circle back, that we have a long list of soft skills na minsan hindi talaga natin napapansin na we have it, na kailangan lang natin siya i-enhance. And one of the soft skills din talaga is emotional intelligence, especially in the workplace. Like self-awareness, yung favorite nating mention, adaptability, empathy, active listening, as well as emotional regulation. So for you guys, for for a more positive and supportive workplace, how does emotional intelligence contribute, or sa tingin nyo, play a big part in creating that kind of environment?
I'd like to start first. I'd like to preface my response by the definition of what emotional intelligence is. Emotional intelligence is defined as the understanding of and management of one's emotion, and how your emotion could affect other people within your circle. So now that most companies are promoting safe workspace, it's really important that you understand what your emotions are. Let's put it in a more practical sense. When we say understanding your emotions, or for example, your boss gave you a task, and that task was given to you in a short time, and um
Madrid? Charot.
we sometimes we would either be like, fight ba to or flight? Or ano ba magiging mararamdaman ko? Now, whenever you have that emotion, you need to understand, where is it coming from? Is it coming from frustration? Is it coming because you don't understand the instruction that was given? Is it coming from your perhaps your relationship with your boss? Because it's easy for us to jump in conclusion. Because when we talk about emotional intelligence, it's a conflict between reaction and response. The most instinctive way that most employees or people respond to a scenario is that we react right away. That is the primordial human instinct na ayoko
Correct,
niyan,
correct.
masyado mahirap
Oo.
siya gagawin.
Bakit ako? Ganon.
Oo, right? Ang
Pass,
dami
pass,
naman, si
pass.
Alwin may ginagawa. Um, and so seldom do you find people who respond, because respond requires time for the person to understand and at the same time assimilate the information that was given. So it's very challenging. And how is it relevant to promoting positive workspace? Because if you the way that we react in something or say a task that was given to you, it's not only affecting you, but it's also affecting the people around you, right? If you had a negative reaction towards the task that was given, you tend to talk to your teammates, ano, ang hirap yung pinapagawa sa akin, ganito, ganyan. And then,
Magra-run ka na
they'll
agad,
start,
no?
they'll start a rapid fire of small talks like that. So, promoting safe workspace starts with us understanding what is our emotional state, and that is emotional intelligence for me.
Like assessing talaga the situation and
Yes,
digging deeper kung ano talaga yung reaction mo. Baka mamaya kasi bigla ka lang nag-react, di mo pa pala naisip.
mhm.
Correct.
So parang think
So,
before you react. Parang gano'n.
Yes, correct. That's true.
thanks for that, Sian. How about you, Rafa? Same question.
For me, I believe the importance of emotional intelligence in the workspace is very non-negotiable, really, because it plays a
Mhm,
vital role in gatekeeping the company's culture as a whole. As it's very, workplace culture is collective. So, and by basically having that emotional intelligence, promotes basically understanding and trust and respect among team members. And by basically enabling this in the workspace, makes the diverse viewpoints of
Correct.
of a very different individuals, and
Mm-mm.
finding a common ground to basically make a common understanding in basically decision making, right? And there are certain ways, as Sian mentioned, that there are also ways to develop emotional intelligence. And also, one is that I agree that he mentioned is self-awareness and self-regulation. Not many individuals are very self-aware of their emotional tolerance to certain things. And it also equates resilience and adaptability, right?
mhm,
So I remember myself back then. I I wouldn't say that I have high EQ, um, because there are certain things that I am not comfortable about, that
mhm,
it makes me difficult to be motivated to do my work or to work with another person. But as experience goes by, you come to an age, you come to maturity, um, even if I am faced with difficult conversation, uncomfortable situation, people that I don't like to work with just because we don't come to an agreement or we don't share the same values or viewpoints, I can perfectly work and collaborate with the person. Just because over time we also develop this, um, really in a certain way, that it is by effectively communicating by each other, understanding that people are different. It's not wrong, it's not right, it's just different. And listening in developing this, basically create or nurture a certain type of workplace culture that is safe for everyone, regardless of their emotional diversity.
mhm,
For the lack of better word,
mhm,
right? Because iba-ibang levels, you can't, even in certain assessment, you can't say that um it's easily measured, uh right? So yeah, because it's very situational. At certain points in time, in the certain questions, probably they have high peak of tolerance, they have high level of emotional intelligence, but then again, certain scenarios, they might, probably based on what they are feeling about the day, they may have been engaged with a different meeting, a different call na difficult, that challenges them, that makes them sensitive enough for a certain situation. So I guess this is something that is overlooked,
Mm-mm.
tapos natatap on na lang during performance assessments,
mhm.
during
Evaluation.
collaborative feedback, di
Yeah,
ba?
oo.
Working in teams, working in different projects, big,
Correct.
it may be big or small, especially when companies are scaling fast, or
Yes.
So dito na nag-a-appear yung levels of emotional intelligence in the
Mhm.
workspace.
Mm-mm.
Alright. I agree with Sian and Rafa kasi when I have interviews with the candidates, always ask how you handle stress and emotions. So that's the time I will check kung fit ba siya when it comes to our culture, and then dun natin makikita kung paano siya mag-react on how sa mga bagay-bagay. So it's a really good point, Sian and Rafa. Okay, and then to add, if you build yung EI or emotional intelligence, yeah, you're able to recognize, understand, of course, manage your own emotions, and you have the ability, to build and maintain relationship. So at this point in your career, Rafa, I know you have already met a lot of different people. Can you share a story where you met people who significantly improve their soft skills and experience positive career outcomes as a result of their efforts?
Yeah. Um, I think 3 years ago, when I was a community manager in a co-working space, I had this colleague before who work hand in hand with me as a specialist, as associate. Um, and during that time, when you are customer facing
Mm-hmm.
and engaging with the, you have to have that sort of rapport and confidence, right? That you
Correct.
are able to, you are in control of a certain room and then the conversation. But this person, she's very meek, but she's very eager to learn. And so I would say her communication, English communication skills is medium, yung level niya. Average, I would say average. She's not able, she's able to express herself, but she's not able to articulate it in a way that in a business setting. Yeah, that's how I would define it. And then so it's since the character of this person is very much eager, she's very hungry for growth.
Mm-hmm.
So there's certain potential that can be improved. So that's why we said yes to her. And I take on the
Mm.
challenge of believing in the certain potential of the person. So in order for her to gain confidence, we have to fix the one thing that she's very conscious about, which is communication, especially when facing clients. So what are the certain intervention or strategies that I took on to help her develop certain skills, and what's the result? Basically, so I we gave her assignment every week to read a certain book, and then she needs to meet with me and explain it to me in a certain way, purely in English.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
So, but before I gave her the book, of course, I should know the story or the content of the
at
book.
nabasa mo na.
Yes. Number two, I created a playlist for her, all in English, no Tagalog, because
Playlist song
just
playlist.
yes, playlist English songs, and then by the end of the week, she also needs to sing the song, of course, memorize the entire lyrics, and then number three assignment for the week. So reading, listening, and then watching English movies.
Okay.
So, pwede ko siya, ini-encourage ko na siya manood siya ng Korean, diba? So, English subtitles. Hindi siya pwedeng
Yeah.
dub ng Tagalog, though. Because before, yun yung mga pinapanood niya,
Uh-huh.
teleserye. Kasi yung environment na
Correct.
kinakanakan niya is very ganun in the
Totoo.
probinsya. So, what was the result? In 3 months, it was not overnight. It was
Yeah.
painful
Correct.
for her to read the book cover to cover, ha. Tapos explain mo pa, tapos kailangan mo kantahin, kailangan mong i-narrate,
Mm.
etc. Um, she gained a level of, in 21 days, diba? That's how you create a habit. So she was
Yeah.
doing it consistently for 21 days. Until such time, she regained a habit. And then, suddenly, it appears na parang hindi ko na-realize na we are doing it for a while, for over 3 months. Until such time na there was a foreign client, kasi diba sa co-working space, very
Yeah.
diverse yung
Yes.
nationalities. There are a lot of foreigners. She immediately stood up without hesitation, engaging with the client. So she was very more comfortable now in speaking in English language, and for the reason that she is not translating it in her head. So it's
Mm-hmm.
not, you see that there was improvement
Natural na.
because natural na. In the beginning, when you are in intermediate to average English speaker, di ba? Sometimes you tend to translate words in your head,
Yes.
and then your listening ability, you're hearing it in Tagalog still, and then translating it in your head, and
Yeah.
then saying in English. During that time, she was more comfortable because she was not translating things. It was more natural, and she is not gaining consciousness na, ah, no, nakakahiya ba? Was my grammar correct? So it was more of natural. And then from then, I've seen that even though during the pandemic there was a difficulty in terms of the co-working space industry, etc. She was able to find her footing now in the aviation industry. So to see
Oh.
that before she was in the back, before joining us, she was in the back office. Now she's more comfortable in facing different types of people in different scenarios, and just because her soft skill had improved so much.
Yep.
So there.
Oh, that's a
Mhm.
great story talaga, no? We can see and we can feel the growth of the person, no? Like,
And
Yes.
I can and I think she can, once I shared this story, she will definitely can relate because she's the person that I am referring to. She's the only associate that I had when I was working in the co-working space in
send,
spaces. So
send
I
link
think
na agad
Rapha
sa
can
kanya,
forward
Rafa.
She
the video to her.
Correct. Pagka-upload agad.
i-re-share niya yan.
From
but
ano,
but
no? From
but to
Rafa,
add,
from Rafa and the team taking a chance to that person,
yes.
and right now he or she is very confident with yung soft skills niya, which is communication, and it's really a proud moment, I guess, for you, Rafa. I know, di ba, nakita mo na siya na standing on her own, being more confident and talking more naturally in the language na yun nga hindi niya kinalakihan. So that's
Yes,
a great story, and thank you so much, Rafa, for sharing that. I hope makilala ko siya very soon as well.
even ang IG post niya is in English.
Ay,
Wala na
Wow.
Tagalog. Oh, improved.
the
As an
captions.
influencer ang peg.
Gusto ko yung mga story na ganyan.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Ganun talaga, no, as a leader, if you see the potential, you will invest.
Yeah, correct. I
Mhm.
agree.
How about you, Sian?
First thing first, I just wanted to congratulate Rafa for a job well done, and I think that that's our responsibility, really. As I would not say as leaders, but more of like a people person, right? It's a people person.
Yes.
We are the vessel or the agent of change, as they say. Now, since we're talking about agent of change, I just wanted to share with you my experience 7 years ago. So 7 years
Yeah.
ago, I was the language trainer back then. So part of my responsibility was to conduct side by side call listening with
Ah,
agents who are handling calls. And the account that I was given or I was assigned to was booking reservation for something. I'm not going to mention the account. And that is a very toxic working environment. So you have a lot of customers calling in, complaining, and all that. Then we have this agent. Her performance is really good, really, really good. It's just that she frequently gets a lot of complaints for rudeness. So I listened to her recording before doing the side by side, and I noticed that she seems like she doesn't care about the customer at all. So when I did the side by side, there's a complete change with the attitude. I was like, okay, so she can do it she can do it when someone is observing. So what I did was, I listened to her recording, and then after listening to, I asked her to listen to her recording rather. I asked her to listen to her recording and compared with her performance that I recorded while I'm doing side by side. And I asked her, what's the difference? And then she mentioned, I was cognizant that someone is listening to my recording. And I told her, and I think that's the right attitude that we should have. We should be looking at it as if that someone is listening. That's so how you can perform. So here's what we're going to do. Let me take the call for you. All right. So I ask I get the headset from her and answered the call and consistently did the same approach on the three consecutive calls that I listened to. She did all the navigation and all that because I don't know the navigation of the tools. And then she noticed that you can be consistent. It's just a matter of persistence. It's a matter of having the right mindset. And then after that, I asked her, okay, so what would be our game plan? And then she said, okay, I'll be consistent about this, yada, 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 and got her commitment. Unfortunately, when I left the company, she got promoted as a team lead. So that what the realization there is that when we're talking about developing soft skills, we should be showing, not telling. We should Our employees or people should have a person that they they look onto, that this is the role model for this kind of attitude, for this right, for this kind of soft skills. And in that way you'll be able to inspire people, because people, let's face it, that soft skills is difficult to teach. Soft
Yeah.
skills is developed through experience. So by creating an
Yes.
experience for that person, then you'll be able to help the person develop. So yeah, so that's I guess what one of my, compared to Rafa, I'm not going to share this to her because I know that she can easily identify herself, and a lot of her friends will say, "Oh, I know, ikaw yun." But thank you so much. Thank you so much for Rafa for giving me an idea about the
Mhm.
story.
All right. So since we saw significantly improvement. Can you give some tips or advice on how individual can develop and enhance their said soft skills?
Feeling ko
Sige, let's go.
ito yung more timely na kailangan nating i-address yung kung
Mm-hmm.
as a people and culture, as a people person, kung ano yung pwede nating ibigay na advice. I know that some soft skills talaga is kailangan lang natin ng enhancement. Like for example, when you are in high school, going to college, and then ibang playing ground na kasi ang workplace, di ba?
Yeah.
So, my personal question is more on kapag for example you finish college, pag pupunta ka na ng bago ka mapunta sa corporate talaga, ano yung pwede nating maging advice sa people who wants to enhance and develop their soft skills? Or even if you're a professional na that wants to dig deeper on your soft skills, ano yung pwede natin sa kanilang sabihin or advice?
I'd like to start. There are three things that I wanted to mention regarding developing your soft skills. One is ask for feedback. Um, because we can be blinded about our own opportunities or about our own strengths and weaknesses. Sometimes, just like what we mentioned earlier, you can sell yourself too much or sell yourself too short. So by asking feedback with the people around us, or specifically your professors, this is what I usually do with my students. When they're performing inside the classroom, I will tell them what are the opportunities when it comes to communication. That's that way they will have a better understanding what are the things that they need to develop, whether it's pronunciation, accent, or whatnot. So feedback is really important. Seek feedback from someone who has the authority. Two is knowing your strengths and your weaknesses. By knowing your strengths and your weaknesses, then it'll be easy for you to identify what areas you need to work on. And lastly, I think it's very important that you do a lot of self-reflection, because I think what we're missing right now is that we sometimes focus on imitating others, because simply because it sounds good, it sounds nice, I'm going to do that, I'm going to imitate that. No, you have to find your niche and self-reflect and see if that is really is your strength and then your weaknesses, and develop, learn from it. And I think as number four na lang siguro, check for resources. You get online courses, and I think it's very accessible right now. I look for soft skills, that list of soft skills, and then probably look for courses online on how you can develop them. And I think by doing so, you'll be good to go. Comadre.
Thanks for thanks for that, Sian. Rafa?
To add more on what Cian have mentioned, right? I guess I would say once you are self-aware, you have to do the next step, which is to accept that
Mm-hmm.
there is something lacking, there is a room for growth. Then you need to do something about it. Once you find the resources, which Cian have mentioned, that is very much available to you than during 10 years ago, 20 years ago, you practice it, you try to nurture and find ways in order for you to find an avenue um to express that development areas. And num- the next would that I would basically advise is that is very difficult when you are still a fresh graduate, or it may not. You may have uh people who you consider as a mentor. Because when I was starting my career, I don't have mentors. I only found my mentors along the way, across my career. But I guess it is very important that when you do find a mentor that you one look up to, you admire, that makes you motivated to also excel in the same field that you may be lacking or need growth of. I guess it boosts more confidence and drive. It for me, as for me, when I was still in the early days of my career, it kind of boosts my self-esteem to basically be in the process of doing it, because you cannot wait for a motivation for it to happen. You need to take the first step, which is action, right? So I guess that comes in that you when you do find a mentor, you frequently receive feedback,
Yes.
and with those feedback, you don't just sit with it, you don't just listen to it, you need to act on it once you accepted the fact that there is something that needs to be improved on and developed.
Mm-hmm.
And you will thank yourself later for
Correct.
these things, right? So, yeah.
Correct. I agree with that, Rafa. Kasi remember, improving soft skills really takes time and effort. Consistently practicing and applying these skills in various situations will help you sharpen and then stand out both personally and, of course, professionally.
Yeah.
As what as Rafa and Sian mentioned earlier, yung mga soft skills natin, it can be divided by siguro dalawa. Those na kaya nating i-take ng mga resources natin. Like for example, with communication, you can do some communication practices, especially if you want more on English, ganyan. It really depends. And those soft skills na throughout your journey mo na siya talaga ma-hone. Diba? So, a piece of advice din sa mga starting their corporate world, just check yung mga resources na kaya. Na for example, there are online courses for your communication, there are some tests for your self-awareness. Uso na nga rin ngayon yung mga personality test that can be one
Yep.
tool, di ba?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
For you to self-assess your emotional intelligence and such.
Mm-hmm. You need to invest talaga with soft
Correct.
skills.
I just wanted to add to what Paula mentioned. For those who are seeking job and looking for applying for a job, mostly if you're checking LinkedIn or any whatever job posting there may be, please look closely at the soft skills that organization is looking for. Do not just let it slide. I mean, you have to consider that because a lot of companies are looking for it simply because it represents the company's core values. So yeah, it's really important.
Yeah. One tip, for example,
Mm-hmm.
project management yung role na tinitignan nyo. Of course, since it's a project, may collaborative and teamwork yan. So
Yes.
take note of yung mga mga hidden hidden keywords na yan for the job description. It would be really helpful when you're applying. And also one tip then for those people who are applying, aside from you can check available jobs on our website, pwede nyo rin i-check talaga yung in terms of aside from their job description, the company itself. Kasi as
Mm-hmm.
mentioned
Yep.
nga, one of the soft skills natin is in terms of the culture fit. So dun mo makikita kung ano talaga yung culture nila and such if you are if you want to be part of that organization. So yeah, I hope our audience today will take note of those advices that we gave them. And actually nag-take note din ako ng mga advice
Mm-hmm.
niyo. Thank you so much, Rama and Sian. Those are a lot of examples, and let's be reminded again that soft skills require continuous nurturing and refinement. They are not fixed traits, but it can be developed and honed throughout our professional journey. So, ito na ang tumataginting na $1 million question. So, we asked this to every guest speakers that we had throughout our Lennor Pulse series. So, since bago ang aking co-host, I'll give the mic to Alwin to ask the question.
Alright,
Go,
ready na ba
Alwin.
kayo sa final question?
Yes
Drum
na.
rolls. Alright, sige. Let's go kay Rafa muna. Rafa, what is one thing you'd like to say to your younger self? Ay,
Kahit gano'n.
diba?
Kunwari 5 years old, Rapha.
Kaya
You're
5 years
right
old.
now, Rapha, talking to the 5-year-old Rapha. Ganun, ganun.
What's something you
Um,
want to say to her?
I couldn't remember my 5-year-old self, but I would like to, I guess, um, talk to my 19-year-old self. So I started working
Yeah.
19 years.
Alright.
So when for her, don't worry too much. You have the you have honed or waited for this moment to come. Take those pocket full of grit and confidence, because that's the only thing that I bought with myself when I came to Metro Manila, is grit and
Mhm.
confidence. Don't be disheartened when you hear people question the way you look, because you look younger than the post that you are working with. Take that as a challenge. I would say invest in skincare products. Learn how to develop yourself personally. You know,
Fairness
the
ka,
the
Ayun
Rapha.
pala
external.
yun.
Uh-uh. Hindi ka pangit, wala ka lang pera during that time. So,
That's it.
and I think you have to wait for that moment that
Mhm.
na I guess you will experience burnt out
Yeah.
because you didn't took a step back and rest. So if there's anything that I could give an advice to you, it would be don't feel sorry to take your
Mhm.
vacation leaves. Use it.
Mhm.
The companies can easily replace you when you get
Yeah.
sick and you don't have anything to offer anymore. You
Correct.
can be replaced in overnight. So
Yup.
don't worry too much. And of course, take into consideration to celebrate your small wins, because that's something that I missed doing before.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I tend to look on my other peers' journey than the journey that I was taking. And so you don't appreciate the time, the small wins and the successes that you were already achieving. So yeah, you will get there, and
Mm.
you will just laugh that yun nga, wala ka lang talagang pera during that time. Kaya hindi ka pangit, wala ka talagang pambili ng skincare mo.
I
So
know.
yun.
I know Rafa and Rafa right now are equally in both beautiful talaga, inside and
Mhm.
out. Correct.
You can
And
say that when you saw my photo. That was the thing. Pero yeah, that was the only thing that you have to really take care of yourself, because
Totoo.
that's something that I was in denial back then, right? I don't need makeup. Ayoko mag-lipstick. Parang hindi pa nagtrabaho kasi kailangan
mm,
girl, maganda
Mm.
nga ang kalooban mo pero walang mag-hire sa'yo pag tsaka ka, girl. Yun
go to
talaga.
girl.
That's my advice. No
Correct.
judgment sa many companies,
Um,
organizations, pero pag tinignan mo yung sarili mo tas yung kausap mo, ay, matakot sila sa'yo. So, really,
True.
presenting yourself
Self-care.
better. So, you cannot
Yep.
sell yourself so much if, it doesn't reflect your entire personality or total
Correct.
package. So, yun.
Sabi nga nila, 'di ba, self-care talaga yung isang way to boost your
To boost your
confidence.
card. Yep.
Kasi 'di ba, if yung self-care mo hindi naman alam mo yun, kapag may init ka ng hindi ka satisfied sa sarili mo, yung confidence mo bababa talaga. And
Actually.
to add lang din sa sinabi ni Rapha regarding dun sa gamitin mo yung VL. Yes, guys, gamitin yung VL, hindi kayo magmamana ng kumpanya.
Totoo.
Sometimes
So,
pag TV ko
Utilize
before,
that.
kompleto
correct.
yan. Hindi ko naman ma-convert, pero kompleto ang VL. Kompleto. Winner pa sa overtime.
na nag-aabang pa tayo ng pamana sa atin. So, gamitin natin ang VL natin. Turn off ang mga work-related. Yeah. So, thank you so much, Rafa, for sharing that. Yeah. How about you,
Right?
Zian?
O simple lang, kapag tapos na, wag nang balikan.
Ay.
Ay! Parang iba yan, te.
Ba't parang ang lungkot doon? Malayo
Girl,
yun.
girl,
Ang
hindi,
deep.
girl,
Opportunity
grabe,
ko to.
hindi tayo February episode,
Ay,
girl.
sorry, pa February. Okay, sige. Actually, there's only one thing that I wanted to tell my younger self, because I'm very hard on myself since I graduated. For me, I feel like I'm used to competing. So whenever I lose an opportunity, I feel like I'm losing myself. So what I
Right.
wanted to tell myself is every rejection counts. So all no's are delayed yeses. So
Mm.
it's important that I should have the mindset, that you should have that mindset na keep pushing on, kasi the no's that you are encountering right now is a yes in the future. Ayun lang, pakit lang, gano'n. Tapos wag nang babalikan, sinasabi.
Pang Twitter yung ano, no, nung sinabi ni Sia, no? Yes. Eh, thank
Pang
you so
Facebook
much, Sia.
post. Thank you,
Competitive
Sia.
ka pa rin. Competitive ka pa rin naman hanggang ngayon, Sia. Parang wala naman nagbago.
Sorry
Yes.
na.
Alright, so thank you for the heartfelt messages and inspiring points, Sian and Rafa. And as we come to end of this episode, we want to express our sincere gratitude to all of our viewers for being part of this event. We hope you find this session informative and of course valuable. If you have guys any further questions or would like to connect with our speakers, feel free to reach out them on social media. So Sian and Rafa, please let the people know where they can find you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for everyone who's joining in, who've watched this, or watching us or joining us today, so you can find me on LinkedIn. You can search for Rafa Matias, Rafaela Matias on LinkedIn. I'm there, so like Theos. So and also on Facebook we can engage if you want to be more personal
Mhm.
in terms of asking further questions and how to improve thyself. I am very much willing, either on Facebook or on LinkedIn to for a more professional space.
Mhm.
So I also post some tips and tricks in the space of people and culture, so watch out for it. So
Yes.
Mhm.
Check out Rafa's page and
also for anyone who's in the also in the HR field or industry, I'll be also joining the Asia HR Forum
Mm.
2023 at Marriott's. I'll be there. So I don't know if Alwin you'll be there on June 15, so can personally engage and interact on that certain event. So
Event.
yeah.
Alright.
you can catch Rafa there. Hopefully, makita ka namin doon if makakatid ka. It's in Marriott, tama ba?
Yeah,
Yes, it's in
yeah. It's
Marriott
Pasay.
2023.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Already signed up, so definitely he'll be there. So let's meet
As a
up.
speaker, Rafa, or...
No, no, as a participant.
Alright. Alright. Iyan?
Ayan. Ako
What's your
naman,
socials?
yes, you can check my LinkedIn, Kristian Yves M. Lovendino. I do speakership, so if you're willing to hmm, to 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 use my talent um as part of your company's training perhaps, or speakership programs, you can check my LinkedIn, or you can also check my Facebook at KY Lovendino. Just don't be too surprised with my picture, okay? It's totally different from how I look like here in the video. But yeah, you can either check my LinkedIn or my Facebook. You can connect with me through those platforms. They're legit platforms.
Wait
Alright,
lang.
check their socials.
Speechless ako. Okay. Thank you
Bakit?
so much, Ian, for sharing those professional platforms that you have. And before I conclude pala, Yves pala, hindi pala Yves. Sorry naman, Ian. It's pronounced as Eves. All right. So, yeah, we would also like to extend our heartfelt again to our speakers, Ian, Rafa. Thank you so much for bringing your expertise and making this webinar a success. Your contributions are greatly appreciated. Yes, may pa-heart. Once again. Yes, heart kayo habang nagko-closing spiel na ako, guys. Ayan. Once again, thank you all for joining us. Stay tuned for the future webinars and have a
Have a
wonderful
wonderful
day!
day.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye-bye,
Yes.
everyone.
everyone.
Taray naman ang teamwork natin.